Hello! Welcome to the Rogues Gallery. Hi, everybody! That was weird. I don't know if it happened for you, but in my ears, I transitioned right when those bits dropped, and I got dueling alert sounds. Live long and pro bono. I don't know if I've ever had a train arrive before my face was on the screen. Before today, that is. I won't be able to say that anymore. Although I'll probably forget and end up saying it again sometime. But, Mobius, welcome back for 9 months. It's a Twitch baby. Hey, someday I need to actually make the sub badges for the different months. Although you've got a first badge, I think. I don't know. I don't remember. But whatever. I need to, like, the hats are supposed to have different colored feathers. I just have never gone back to Meaning of Night to get new versions with different colors. Also, Lord Portico, thank you so much for your 16-month resubscription. Has it been 16 months? How has it been 16 months? This is surprising to me, but also I will believe the Twitch in the counting of the numbers. Thank you for being here. And Key Squared, thank you for the 100 bits. I saw your question about naming bureaucrat NPCs after your more annoying LIS textbook authors, and I think that's a wonderful idea. Why not? And then Lord Portico, 500 additional bits, or 500 bits. I guess they weren't additional, they were your first ones for today, but thank you for the bits. Hello, Sunday. Hello, internet service provider. Please don't do that to me today. But yeah, it is great to have all of you joining me. What would it be a stream of mine without ISP issues? I ask you. And I answer, probably not. But, yeah, hi. How is everybody? Sacrifices some poultry to appease the ISP deities? I don't know. I think, it's Shenandoah Telecom, so maybe burning some coal? Since this is coal country. But, I don't know what would actually appease them. I don't know what makes them care about their customer. Oh wait, nothing, because they're a monopoly, and they're the only service provider in the area. That's how American capitalism works. You get around the antitrust laws by being a cable provider who says, oh, but there's satellite. So we're not a monopoly, there's satellite. Except satellite is not a comparable service when it comes to internet provision. But because satellite exists, and you can point to it and say, but they could get satellite. Antitrust says, you're not a monopoly, even though you are a monopoly. Why does your internet smell of coal, sulfur, and despair? Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that unless the ISP forces me to. I mean, Key Squared Satellite just doesn't work very well at all. Whenever there's weather, or strong barometric pressure without weather, or a bird flies by. satellite just isn't great, especially for internet, and definitely not for the purpose that we're using the internet for. Thank you, everybody, for completing a level 1 hype train. Enjoy notes if you're getting anything new. I don't know. I think we're still on animals, and I don't know when we're going to move off of animals. Had them for a long time. Days with Y in them, indeed. There was a time when cable was the same. Cable, when we first moved to Virginia back in the 1980s, we actually didn't have cable, but I had friends that had cable, and so when I was over at their house, occasionally if a storm came through, the cable would go out. And today that seems unthinkable, that cable would go out because of weather. Like, power goes out because of weather all the time, here at least, but cable doesn't. Cable's all underground, while the electrical cables are above ground for some asinine reason. Yeah, and my dad, when my dad moved out of the house that I grew up in, he moved to a much more rural part of the state and actually bought a house on top of a mountain. And when he moved in there, it was not possible, like, the house did not have cable service to it at all. And there was no high-speed internet available. Like, he had to use satellite. It was the only option. I don't know that that's the case today, because that was more than 20 years ago at this point. But when he moved there, satellite was the only option. And satellite is not comparable. So, anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm not on satellite. Eventually, someday, they will either finish installing new internet service from a competitor who is supposedly moving into town, or I'll move and have better service. But until then, we have what we have. Today's Sunday, which is weird, because I could have sworn that the weekend just started. But today's Sunday, which means we're playing Mass Effect. Still looking for Caden. Slowly. There is no Gax Pack today, so we won't be rating Gary Con at the end, but I had a thought that we might pop in, since they're starting right around the time that I end, to the Gaming Magazine Awards. So that's my plan for end of stream. And then tomorrow we'll play Wandersong, followed by hopping over to Q Times for probably Barony of Olives, unless something changes. Wednesday is Archives Day, and that will be aviation brochures this week. And then Saturday, of course, is my retro gaming day, where we're playing Ultima 5, and yeah. That's my schedule. The weekend did just start. You worked circulation yesterday. Oh dear. Oh, one-day weekends are not weekends. At this point, 2-day weekends are not weekends. We really should have at most a 4-day work week with 3 days off. But it's never gonna happen. Just like student loans are never gonna be forgiven. At this point, I honestly don't expect that the US president will ever forgive any portion of student loans. Harkening back to his comments when he was campaigning, saying that at most he supported forgiving $10,000 in loans because anyone who took out more than that didn't need the help. Because they had 6-figure jobs already and didn't need assistance. Because his brain still thinks that college costs what it did in the 60s. Anyway. Affordable healthcare for Saxons and Normans? What? Yeah, but we're supposed to vote for him because if we didn't vote for him, then we'd have what we had before. And, you know, I'm in a program where in another 4 years, my loans should be forgiven. As long as for that 4 years I continue paying as I'm supposed to and stay fully employed in what is considered a public service job. But not everybody has that. And the student loan industry is ridiculous. We were all told, you need to go to college. You absolutely must have a degree for this job that has never required one before, but now we want you to have one. And most of it for jobs that don't need a degree. Let's be honest, most office work does not need a degree. But you have to have a degree if you want that office job to pay well. And so you have to go thousands and thousands of dollars in debt in order to attend college. Partly because the US college system is expected to provide lots and lots of amenities. If it was just attending college and you weren't paying for room and board and you weren't paying for all sorts of extracurriculars and things like that, the cost of college would be less. But the US consumer expects to have all of those things from their college. So colleges provide them. And colleges pay very low salaries to people to provide them. And yet, the cost goes up and up and up. Because that's how our system works in America. By constantly increasing the price on everything, except your labor. The cost of living, the cost of produced goods, the cost of everything has gone up since the 1970s. Except your wages. Your wages have not increased as much as the cost of purchasing things. So people have gotten poorer. And inflation happening now, we're seeing the same thing. There's talk about how wages are going up, but they're not actually going up. And where they are going up, they're not going up enough to keep up with the inflation in the cost of purchasing things. I don't know how I got on this topic. I'm sorry. Hi, Millie Glitch. Heard about the bleeping amount they charge for... Oh, yeah. Textbook cost is ridiculous. A lot of the textbooks cost a couple $100. And most of that money does not go to the author of the textbook. Most of that money goes to the publisher of the textbook. We actually have some programs through our library to help students. And our library, we have a couple of people who are very active in the Open Educational Resources movement, which is a movement to develop open access textbooks. And we've published a couple of them. Specifically, I know of a couple of economics textbooks that our library helped to publish, where they're open access, and part of that means that where necessary, other authors can come in and replace chapters to provide more relevant information. So I know the economics textbook that I'm thinking of, after it was published and put out there, there were some Chinese academics who came and worked with our library to swap out a couple of chapters so that there were chapters that applied specifically to Chinese economics. And so rather than just having a textbook that said, this is how things are, it was a more localized, more specialized textbook that could be adapted to specific courses and things like. Anyway, that's a whole thing that's done now, or that our library is working on. Mobius, yeah. Each edition is just a lot of the times a second or third edition does not have a lot of updated content. It's just fixed about. This stream not brought to you by McGraw-Hill, Thomson Reuters West, Lexis, Houghton Mifflin, Harcourt. Most specifically, this stream not brought to you by Elsevier. Oh, no. I'm not going to go off on Elsevier at the moment. Not like you're prepping for a new fall course. Honestly, where possible, if you only need a chapter from a book, I would say copy the chapter and just give it to your students. This is the librarian in me speaking. Absolutely, you should look for the lowest cost textbook that you can, and make sure that the library knows early enough which books you're going to have so that they can make sure they have them on hand, so that students can get copies of their textbook from the library if they can't afford to buy them. And if there are multiple editions of the book, say a brand new edition just came out, it's worth taking the time to look at the new edition and see what differences there are, so that you can properly advise students as to whether the new edition is absolutely necessary or whether they can still get by with an older edition. Yeah. I said the word. Finally go to the Feywild! Yes! The Feywild, I've never been. I want to go. My current character is a fairy. But he was born in Icewind Dale. His parents are from the Feywild. Ooh, Be Right UK, hello and welcome back thank you for your 16-month resubscription! I should pass out daggers. Since it is the Rogues Gallery, you all should get daggers for your continued subscriptions. Okay. I think it's time. I think the game has had plenty of time to load. We've not been just chatting and complaining about capitalism and the world. Sorry. I know what put me on this today. I opened Twitter and I saw a post from Elisa Pearl this morning that made me very annoyed at capitalism. Opening Twitter was my first mistake. Alright, I'm going to switch us so that I can actually make the game happen. It's really weird. We got the alert, but then I switched scenes and we got the alert again, and I don't know why it does that, and I'm not sure I care because I don't mind getting the alert more than once. Gonna hopefully get game on screen for you soon. I just clicked resume, so we should be loading into the Mass Effect.exe or Mass Effect 2.exe, which is what OBS will finally pick up. But yeah, Mobius, that post. I literally sat there for 15 minutes because I wanted to respond. I wanted to say something to acknowledge that I heard and understood, but I also could not, for the life of me, think of anything to say. And I finally settled on, I see you. I hear what you're saying, and I wish the world was better. Really. Oh, I'm on the wrong scene, aren't I? Aha! I was. Yeah, exactly. What do you even say? Because I have no power. I can't make things better. I've been struggling with a lot of the same feelings, and I'm nowhere close to in as vulnerable a position as a lot of other people. But I know that there are people around me who have existing health conditions that put them at extra risk, and we should all be working to protect them. And instead, society has said, nope, we're over this. It's up to you. If you've got a health condition that makes you more vulnerable, it's up to you to protect yourself. I'm done. And that is ridiculous. And this Friday, I had my first... So, it's been a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks or so, since the university lifted all masking requirements. There are none. It's been since the beginning of the semester that they said, oh, we're going to start treating this like it's endemic. We're no longer going to treat the pandemic as a pandemic. We're just going to treat it as an endemic disease, which it is not. And then it doesn't help that we are a state school. It means we get a very, very, very small amount of money from the Commonwealth of Virginia. And that we have a new Republican governor who got elected on a bed of lies, and he wants his Republican people to love him, so he took away all masking requirements and all COVID everything. And so, as part of that, as a state school, we follow state policy, which means we have no requirements for masks at all. I'm not allowed to ask somebody to put a mask on when they come in. I had my very first public desk shift on Friday since that was lifted, and I had my mask on the whole time, but and nobody even came in. It was the Friday before Easter. It was the Friday happening at Passover, but it stressed me the heck out and basically made it so I wasn't able to function most of the rest of the day because I was putting myself out at significant risk for no reason. Because we could have people wear masks and help to protect everyone. So... Yeah, Mobius. So anyway, I will survive, but not everybody will. Okay. I should figure out what we're doing in the game. I apologize. I think we're about to the point where we're going to be going for Proganicity. We just finished what's her name's mission? Her mission. The Justicar, whose name is not in my brain at the moment. So we need to go back to the ship somehow. I don't know how to get back to it. I want to go to the transport depot. If I turn right, it should get me there eventually. Samara, thank you. Necronomicon. Necronomicon Ex Mortis. I am so sad about the new Evil Dead game. I saw that a new Evil Dead game was coming out, and I got super excited, and then I saw that it's going to be like a Dead by Daylight style game, multiplayer, five player, you know, one playing the bad guy and 4 playing, like totally Dead by Daylight style online play, and I'm not interested in that kind of game, and so I will not be playing it because it's just not a game that I will enjoy. Which made me sad because I was super excited when I saw they were coming out with a new Evil Dead game. Oh, Emmy, combat prep. Don't come prepared. F5 is quick save. I will remember that. F for a melee attack. Thank you. But there are definitely people who do like that kind of game. Is there anybody here who's actually particularly excited for the upcoming Evil Dead game? I mean, it sounds like... I'm sure it'll be an amazing game for people who like that Dead by Daylight style game. I've watched people play those games and probably will watch people play this game. It's just not a game I'm super interested in playing myself. It's kind of a PvP 1-on-4 style online game, and yeah, that I don't think is for me. Here is Samara's. 3, I think? It doesn't sound like an Evil Dead game anymore. I kind of agree. Yeah, and I don't know how much of the how much of the camp humor is going to be retained for that game. I don't know. Once I saw that was the style of gameplay, I kind of quit paying attention. So I haven't looked deeply into it to see exactly how the game is going to be as far as those elements.
And waking hours equally. For the first time in 400 years, I am free. I am a ruined vessel of sorrow and regret, but I am free. It is not a feeling I can describe.
Was it worth it?
It was never a question of worth, but of need. I had to take the action I did, as did she. This was never a story that would have a happy outcome.
You did your duty. What about your feelings?
One of my daughters is dead. My hopes, my dreams were all bound up in my children. Still, my feelings have always come after my duty. The same is true of you.
You said that Morinth was a monster, but she was still your daughter.
She was the strongest and smartest. She would not accept the injustice thrust upon her. She fought to the end. I am so proud of her, Shepard.
You killed her for being what she was.
And I would again. But I also know what it means to leave everything behind and fight. Do you realize that she went on the run at the age of 40? I do not know human years well, but it is very young for Asari.
What will you do now that Morinth is gone?
Assuming I survive your mission, I am a Justicar. Injustice still exists, and perhaps even other Ardat-Yakshi.
You don't want to settle down?
I did. I returned to my homeworld and tried to start a family. I will fight and struggle all my life. That is my fate. When I die, it will not be in bed. I am at peace with that.
I should go.
Of course, Commander. Thank you again.
Yeah, Samara's situation was not great. And now it's resolved, and hopefully she can get some peace. Yeah, Be Right UK. It's not my favorite one to watch, but I mean, I'm happy for the people who, are able to play it and enjoy it. There's another game though that's coming out soon. I'm distracting myself and going to Steam for a second. There's a game coming out in June called Starship Troopers Terran Command. And oh my god. Like, seriously. Like, right? I don't know if you can hear it. You probably can't hear it. Yeah, you can't hear it. It's Starship Troopers. I'm excited about this one. I'm looking forward to this one. Anyway. That's not our focus today though. But like, so the Evil Dead one, not super excited. That Starship Troopers game, I'm looking forward to somewhat eagerly. That was a little bit of a preview of Starship Troopers Terran Command from the trailer that is on Steam for it. It looks like a StarCraft style Starship Troopers game, and yes, please. Yes, that is a perfect style for a Starship Troopers game, and I want that game so much now. I just ran across it. It's one of the few times where my Steam queue has actually shown me something that was interesting to me. Anyway, we are playing Mass Effect now. Hallucinogenic episode. We were talking about the Dead by Daylight style Evil Dead game that's coming out, and how much I was excited for new Evil Dead game, and then it was found out it was going to be like a Dead by Daylight style, which seems like all the horror games are going that direction. And I'm not interested in that kind of horror game. It's just not for me. There's nothing wrong with it as a style of game. It's just not for me. And then I wanted to share something I was excited about, which is what appears to be a like Warcraft or Starcraft style strategy resource game that is Starship Troopers. That is coming in June. Alright. We're not doing Acquire Reaper IFF because that is main quest. We're not doing Rescue Dr. Kenson because that is the DLC that I was told I should wait until like the very end. We're not doing Serpent Nebula yet because that's the Citadel, and that's the last place we're going after we do everything else that we can except for main quest and the DLC. So that means today we're going to the Krogan Demilitarized Zone. We're heading to Tuchanka. Aralach is the name of the system. Ooh, Dronic. It's Krogan time. You're right, Myth. There are a couple of systems for us to probe. So we will definitely do that before we actually set foot on Tuchanka, because I have to be consistent with my pattern. I think we head to Nith first. The idea of a Krogan demilitarized zone seems like an oxymoron to me. How can the Krogan have a demilitarized zone? I thought the Krogan were all about military. This is a giant blue star. The first planet in the Nith system is Montun. The Class B blue giant Nith was once the most strategically valuable system within Krogan territory. Though far too hot for habitable planets, Nith emits thousands of times the energy of a main sequence star like Earth's Sol. With help from Solarian uplift teams, the Krogan constructed a chain of solar power collector stations in orbit around Nith. These vast arrays beamed power to particle accelerators on the surface of Montun, which manufactured anti-proton fuel for warship thrusters. In the Krogan rebellions, the Spectre agents managed to get a virus into the computers of the solar power arrays. Every fifth array suddenly applied braking thrusters. The arrays behind them piled up, and all were reduced to wreckage. This has since dispersed into a relatively stable ring system. The Krogan never had the resources to rebuild the solar arrays, depriving them of their fleet's main fuel supply for the remainder of the war. The particle accelerators still exist on Montun, but have not been used in thousands of years. Orbital distance 57.2 AU, orbital period 112.1 Earth years, radius 2,150 kilometers, orbital period 112.1 Earth years, atmospheric pressure trace, surface temperature 641 Celsius, surface gravity 0.28 G. I don't know why orbital period is listed twice, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna probe.
Probe launched. Probe launched.
Probing is gonna get you. I don't know why my brain went to rhythm is gonna get you, but I had to figure out words that would go with it. For just that phrase, that's all. We got some ESO though.
Probe away. Probe launched.
Is Power Play back tonight? Do any of you all know?
Probe
I know they were off last week. I don't know if I heard whether they were playing tonight or not.
Launching probe.
Power Play is a weird one. It's a really good one, and I need to like sit down and like watch the VODs from the beginning.
Probe launched.
It's a weird one because it's one where I tune into it,
Probe
but I'm
launched.
usually doing something else, and so I sort of know what's going on,
Probe launched.
but I tune into it because I want to support. It's just that
Launching probe.
if I paid full attention to every stream that I tune into, I would never do anything else. And so it's really good, and I know it's really good, and I paid attention sometimes,
Launching probe.
but then I'm also usually doing something else during their stream, while at the same time really enjoying the bits that I actually pay attention to, but most of the time I only sort of know what's going on. Very late in the time zone for a work night. It actually ends earlier for me than most of the TTRPG shows that I try to watch live. So the stream punks, when they stream, usually end for me sometime between midnight and 1, or possibly 1:30ish. Depends on whether it runs a little long or not. And of course, Critical Role ends typically around 2 a.m. for me. So Power Play usually ends about 11:30, which I appreciate. Let's see. The second planet is Tula. Tula's methane ammonia atmosphere traps the blistering heat of Nith, driving dayside temperatures up over 1,000 degrees. While some loads of useful metals are present, the planet's incredible heat makes mining impractical. Orbital distance 108.7 AU. Orbital period 293.9 Earth years. Radius 5,204 kilometers. Day length 59.7 Earth hours. Atmospheric pressure 0.54 Earth atmosphere. Surface temperature 1,036 Celsius. Surface gravity 0.55 G. So if you remember, or if you were around yesterday, I was mentioning how I'm trying to learn Star Wars lore. And I'm finding it difficult. And I don't really understand why I'm finding it super difficult. Star Trek lore, I know pretty well. Star Trek lore, I mean, there's tons of TV series that spend plenty of time on the various different races in Star Trek. And then I read a lot of Star Trek books. And I've played various Star Trek games. And so there's a lot of Star Trek in my head. Star Wars, I've seen the movies. And I've seen some of the TV series. I haven't seen all of the animated, but I've seen a lot of them. And yet, I feel like Star Wars lore just bleeds out of my brain and doesn't stay. I've been enjoying the Lego Star Wars game that just came out because you get to spend a lot of time on all of the different planets and interact with just regular people. And in some ways, I'm getting a little bit of lore from that. But then you've got something like Mass Effect, where I've played 2.5 Mass Effect games, counting Andromeda, Mass Effect 1, and Mass Effect 2, and I feel like I know the Mass Effect lore way better than I know Star Wars lore. And so the difference between my Trek lore and my Star Wars lore is definitely because I've just had a lot more exposure to Star Trek, but I retain the Mass Effect lore, where I feel like I don't retain Star Wars lore very well. And I don't know why that is. And I'm struggling to find... I need, like, a history